Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 51. In today's episode, we're going to talk about pre-startup safety reviews for process safety management. Let's get started. So the PSM standard is found under 29 CFR 1910.119. This is part of our series of going through the 14 requirements of process safety management. This is just one of them, a pre-startup safety review. So let's just go over a couple of the specifics that really have to be done. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but there's a very specific things that says whatever way is chosen, the company will at least cover the following things in there. So let's get started. The employer shall perform a pre-startup safety review for new facilities or when modifications are significant enough to require a change in the process safety information. That's a lot of words. Obviously, when there's a brand new facility, we get it. You have to go back and do this. But when it starts to talk about modifications are significant enough, think about if you have to change that process safety information. Maybe you're going to change the pressure, you're going to change the temperature, maybe the formula on the chemicals, you're going to change from a 37% to a 25% solution. So it's something that's going to change enough that you have to go back, change your information, which means that you then have to go back and do another pre-startup safety review. So the pre-startup safety review shall confirm that prior to the introduction of highly hazardous chemicals to a process, construction and equipment are in accordance with design specs. This is when you're going to look at the different standards out there, pumps, motors, piping, anything that you can think of. You're looking to make sure that you've designed it with design specifications. It's really easy just to run a pipe from point A to point B, but you gotta follow the design specifications out there. Also, we have to cover the safety, operating, maintenance, and emergency procedures in place, which means that you're training people, you're writing the procedures down. You're just not saying, let's spin this dial, let's do this, so you're doing everything you can to say, we have engineered this process to be as safe as we possibly can. Now we're going through a very structured startup safety review. Let's go to the next slide here. So for new facilities, you have to do a process hazard analysis, which we talked about in a previous episode then. And we have to look at the recommendations that were implemented and also look at the ones that were not implemented. We also have to look at the management of change because now you've changed a process. And if we go back and look at our example, of course, we went from a 37% solution to a 25% solution. We've now changed the process then. And then finally, you have to train each new employee of the process and confirm that it's been completed and documented and all that. And that was one that we talked about in episode 48 when we talked about operating procedures. 49, we then talked about training for people who are going to run this process. So we just can't start flipping dials and running things and just kind of seeing what happens. We're doing everything we can to make it as safe as we possibly can, and we're doing it for the people who are operating the plant, not just for the people outside of the fence line of the facility and everything else. Got to do everything we can to make it good. And that is it for episode number 51, pre-startup safety reviews for process safety management. There's a lot of different ways to do these, and that's why that we didn't get into any one specific way that says you will do the following. It's a very broad category of which they then say you will cover training, emergency procedures, startup. You will, if you changed your process safety information, you have to go back and do a process hazard analysis again. So just a very broad overview of pre-startup safety reviews. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Have a safe day.